Welcome to my series, What Do I Need? Today, let's talk about adhesives. I'm Sally Allen, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm stamping with gas. Let's talk about the different adhesives that are available. When you have a liquid glue like this, the multi, and oops, that one's not open. This is a brand new one. So here this one's open. So you've got a small tip and then a larger tip. All right, and then you have a tape runner. And Stampin' Up! Has changed, we used to call it snail, and it looked like this. And now it's Stampin' Seal. So it's a little bit bigger and easier to hang on to. It's got the little finger grips, and then it has the little lid that comes off. All right, so when I am putting together a card, I need a basic glue. So I either need Stampin' Seal or a liquid glue. Now most of the time I am a liquid glue person. I do use the Stampin' Seal, and we have two strengths. The regular strength, this one, and the other one that's super strength. Say I'm putting together a box or a bag. I'll want to use that because I really want it to hold. So I've got a card here, and I did some pre-gluing. And so I want to glue, I've glued these 3 layers together, and now I want to glue this triple layer onto the card base itself. And here's why I love liquid glue, especially for beginners, because it's a little more forgiving. And I started to glue this and realized that I didn't want to do that because I wanted to show you. Now, if you're worried about this, if it were on the front of your card, you can use a glue eraser and get rid of this, and see how it just kind of lifts right up. So I'm not going to bother with that. So I'm going to open my liquid glue. And you don't have to get it on there real heavy. And I've had classes where people just absolutely, like they're painting a wall. And you don't need to do that. I like to get the edges really well because I want those to stay down on my card. All right, so here's why I like liquid glue. I know that I want this offset just a little. So when I go to put it down, if I don't get it exactly where I want it, see how I can wiggle it and get it right exactly how I want it? That's why I like liquid glue. So when I'm putting together a card, I prefer liquid glue. Now I stole these handy little tweezers that stay closed from my husband's fly tying toolbox. I actually gave them back to him and went and bought my own, but they are fabulous for holding a bow, for holding something down like this when you really want that to adhere, because I've got so many layers. All right, so that's why I like liquid glue. So if I were making an envelope, I would like the tape runner, because I know exactly where I want it, and I'm going to put the tape there. Maybe when you get going, you prefer the tape, and a lot of people do. I just prefer liquid glue. All right, there's another type of liquid glue that we have, and it is the fine tip glue pen. And be careful, because when you go to open it, if you take off that black, it's on there. That's not what you want to do. So leave that black one on there. So kind of hold on to it and then open the white part. So here's the fine tip glue part of it, and when you go to put it back, just rest the glue tip here and stick the needle that's in there, or pin, or whatever you want to call it, and put it right in there. What that does is keeps that real fine tip from clogging, and you don't have to use a pin to unclog it. All right, so say on this card, we'll say this is all glued together now. I can take these off, and I want to put some sequins on there. So this is where the fine glue comes in handy. So I would just put a little tiny tip of it like this, and then put my sequin. So that's when you'd really want the fine tip glue pen. And I'm not even going to leave it undone for even a little bit while I'm doing my video, because it will clog. I guarantee it. So always put your lid back on when you're finished using it. All right. So when I want to add, so back to this card here, if I want to add a little element to my card and I want to lift it up to give it some dimension, or some, dimension, we have what we call dimensionals. And what I did here is I took the size of the dimensional and I put it on the outside of the package so you can see. So this is the regular dimensional, and I have a little bit of a glare there, and that's the mini dimensional. And I have some that are open, and I actually like this in my drawer too, so when I'm looking for, because you can kind of see where they both look white and you can't really tell the difference. So when I put these on the outside of my package, I can tell at a glance which one I want to open. All right, so here's some that I already have open. And I'm going to take the back of my flower here, and I don't want it to show through, so I'm going to put it on that darker part there so it doesn't show through the vellum. And I get them good and down there. And then I kind of rub my finger on them and warm them up, and then that way the little backing is, oops, it's stuck to my finger, is easier to pull off. All right. So then you can see I can place my flower where I want it, and it's up off of the paper. And now I have this lifted up, and when I go to put other elements, this isn't the right color, but you see what I'll try to do, is get my leaves exactly where I want them. So I can go back to my fine tip glue pen again, just put it on the very ends here, and glue it in there. Okay. All right. So that's the fine tip glue pen and the dimensionals. In addition to dimensionals, and they're kind of a foam covered paper, we have adhesive or foam adhesive strips. And they come in long strips, and let me show you a package that's already open so you can see how they're longer strips here. Now you'll use these when you say I wanted to lift up this whole panel. I would put these long strips on the side, or if I'm going to make a shaker card, this is very bendable, so I can do it in round, oval, I can go around my little jars, whatever I want to do, or I can cut them in pieces. So I've cut one in a piece here. So you can see they're a little bit thicker than my dimensionals. All right, so that's my foam adhesive strip. Now another thing that we have is tear and tape. Let me set this card aside here. And say I'm going to make this little card. Oh no. I did not lose my other piece, did I? Oh no. Shoot. Oh, it fell on the floor. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm going to make this card, and what I have done is I've cut out the card lengthwise like this, so it's 4 1/4 by the full 11 inches of the paper, and I've scored it at 5 1/2. Then I cut a chunk out of the middle. And so this is how I just want my little gnome to barely be peeking over the edge there. So I went ahead and did this one, so you don't have to watch me do both sides. And I put the tear and tape on here. Now tear and tape, when it's brand new, looks like this. And it's just a roll of tape. When it's out of the package, it looks like this. So you literally put it on a piece of paper and then tear it, and then you can trim it however you want it. So let me show you on here. So say I wanted it here, I would lay it down and just tear it. Oops, I tore the paper too. So that's tear and tape. So when I want to take this off here to get it glued onto my card, I rub the ends of it like this and get it warm, and then it's a lot easier to remove that backing. See there? So now I'm going to close my card. Now this one, I've got the window sheet under, so I'm going to line up the bottom of my card with the bottom of my card, and I'm not going to commit until I'm happy with it. So right there. All right, so now I have my little I believe. It's silly, but I believe. That's a new one in our mini catalog. And then my little gnome. So when my friend opens the card, then you get the full picture of the gnome. So that's how you make a little card using the tear and tape. That's one way you can use tear and tape. Okay, so we also have what we call mini glue dots, and they come in a box like this. And I'm going to show you a little trick. When you pull out your glue dots, the glue dots are here on the end of the roll. And you want to leave that flap there so that these don't come off on the inside of the box. So I learned this trick from someone else. Tie a little piece of baker's twine so that if you have a house full of people and they're sharing these dots, they don't tear off this piece. And then that way it just rolls back. I might have tied this one a little too tight, but then it rolls back so that you can expose the next. And look, I have one here in my fingernail. All right, so I'll show you a good way to use these dots. So I'm going to go back to this wedding card here, and ultimately in the end I want to add a ribbon, a bow. So glue dots are a great way to do that. So I'm going to put a couple actually. So I just put it on there and press and pull, and there's my glue dot. And then I go to the next one, I press and pull, and there's two glue dots right on my, didn't stick to my finger, didn't make a mess, and I want my ribbon right there. Boom. So easy. So mini glue dots. You can leave this laying around this way, or you can put it back in your box. So love that baker's twine secret. All right. So we have gone over glue dots, our dimensionals. So we have two sizes, regular and mini, and then we also have the foam adhesive strips that are longer, so you can use those on a card or for a shaker card. And then we had our liquid Tombow glue, multi-glue. You'll hear this called green glue a lot. People will say, pass me the green glue, or call me and say, I need to order some green glue. That's what that is, green glue. So we like that. We had our fine tip glue pen. I couldn't live without this. I love this stuff. And then we had our tear and tape. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you next time.